I know it's been a while. I just took a 2 day break to enjoy time with my family. But I'm gonna get straight into this. And this what if is gonna be what if Deku had venom? Now I got this I asked one of my friends about this over Discord if they wanted me to do what if Deku was the reincarnation of Superman or Venom. She chose Venom. So I'm gonna do this part. Yeah, I'm gonna do this what if. Alright, so we're gonna get straight into it. Now, Deku doesn't get born with venom. And venom is still a symbiote. I'm pretty sure that's what they called it. Or he's like that's still a parasite, but he doesn't like being called a parasite. But so whenever Deku is born, he has blue hair and blue eyes, while Inko is green hair and green eyes. As we know, she looks exactly like that in canon. And pretty much just what Deku looks like right now, whenever he gets older, is what he's gonna look like. And Deku is a really, really happy boy. He's very cheerful. He's always happy. And he always likes to make other people happy too. He's pretty much like a class clown. And now we move on to a couple years later, around 3 years. That's whenever he finally meets. I don't know if I should make a femme Bakugo. No, I'm not going to make a femme Bakugo. So this is when he finally meets Katsuki Bakugo. And just like in canon, they're really good friends. And they've become best friends. They're closer than they are in canon. And so a year later, whenever Bakugo starts getting his quirk, many explosions, tiny things like that, Deku says it's cool and all this. I'm pretty sure in canon, Deku's like a month younger, or like a couple weeks younger than Bakugo. So Deku follows Bakugo around like his number one fan, as he did in canon. Then now it's finally Deku's turn to get tested for a quirk. So as he goes there, I'm not going to give this doctor a name because the doctor's not going to be, should I do it that way? No, I'm not going to do it that way. And so Deku goes into a big facility to get his quirk examined. And as the doctor comes out and sits down in a blue chair with a kind of disappointed yet not really caring face. Because I'm going to say in this one, only about 2% of the world is quirkless. Just to make it even worse for Deku. So, if you've watched the movie Venom, you'll know where I'm going with this. Just because of Venom's origin. So, as Deku is told quirkless, he's devastated. He's completely and utterly destroyed by this news. Like, the bluish gleam in his eyes just disappeared for a couple minutes. And Inko went to the bathroom before Deku was told to be quirkless. So the doctor walks away for a couple seconds. And this is when, because Deku's still shocked, he doesn't react. And this is when a black, slimish looking thing comes crawling from the vent and lands on Deku and crawls into his body through his nose and mouth. I'm not sure that's how he actually infected him in the movie or not. But I'm going to say that's how it goes. And now Deku was deemed quirkless. Whenever Inko came back and she asked the doctor what his quirk was, he said quirkless, and Inko's happy-go-lucky face turned to a stone-cold stare and pure disgust towards Deku, or Izuku, as they call him now, before he gets the name Deku. So, and she just grabs Deku by the arm and says, "Come on, kid, we're leaving." Like that. Well, I'm not really trying to do a feminine voice right now because my voice really hurts. But they leave, and on the way home, Deku is still crying, and he's completely forgotten about what just happened with the little sludge thing that went into his body. And so, Deku's pretty young whenever he got this. So I'm going to say Venom's pretty young as well, but they've already gotten to the planet and everything's already happened to Venom. And now, I don't know if y'all want me to add other Venom characters like the main boss villain from the actual movie where they're about to go on the spaceship. If you don't want me to add him, I could do that. It'd just be really somewhat difficult in a way. Gotta find a way to add him and like what he would be, or like how to make him an actual character. But I'll try my best on that. And so Deku is crying in the back seat, and Inko tells him to shut the hell up, you stupid, useless brat. Because she was planning on using Deku either way to like get money. Because I'm gonna say in this one, his family's mildly poor. They're not like poor where they can't have food, water, and shit like that. I'm gonna say they're poor enough to the part where like they struggle to get by. And so, and before I go any further, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And yes, I'm pretty sure this will be my 150 subscriber special. It's an entire series I'm gonna do. Now, just heads up, I might not post the Zombie Deku What If, because I kind of lost some motivation for it, and I lost, like, ideas. I don't know what to do for it. But I'm going to try and, over, like, the next couple days, I'll try and see if I can get a video out. And if I can't, I'll still be thinking about it. I might even start a whole new series and discontinue that one. So, I'm going to skip over back. I'm going to get back into the story. Enough of my ranting. And so Deku is shocked to hear this because his mom's always been nice to him. So pretty much in this one, Inko's Two-Face. If you don't know what that means, I mean like she in front of Deku, she's so kind. Well, in front of other people, she's kind to Deku and loving, but behind closed doors, she's a total total jerk. Let's just say that. Yeah, jerk. I'm trying not to get like age restricted on this video. Now, Deku, this goes on for like as soon as Deku gets home and he goes over, well, he stays home for like a couple weeks without going to school. And when Deku does finally go to school, well, Inko stopped feeding him by this point. Well, not stop feeding him, but feeds him like small amounts, like a loaf of bread a week. And that's all he has to survive on. And you know that place where Bakugo fell into the water? He drinks from there because she won't give him any water. And like that, she's mainly worried about herself. And now, whenever Deku finally comes back to school, Bakugo and the rest of his class was worried about him because they don't know he's quirkless yet. And Deku says, don't worry about me, guys. I can't do a kid voice at all, bro. Like, you have no idea how hard it is for me to do a kid voice right now. I feel like it's got a knot in my throat. And it hurts a lot. And we move on to a couple days go by as Bakugo kept asking what his quirk was and Deku would never tell him. And finally, Deku told Bakugo that he was quirkless. Now, in this one, Bakugo's not that, like, full-blown bully, take a swan dive off the roof. That type of bully. He's more or less like a, oh, I ain't gonna mess with you because you quirkless and you're useless nobody. Like that, he'll still bully Deku, but like not as much as he did in canon, because in canon, I'm surprised Deku even thought of him as a friend. Like, man's told you to kill yourself and you're just gonna sit there and still be his friend after that. And so, Bakugo pushed Deku away from him and said, you quirkless nobody, get away from me. Now this was dead set in the middle of class, so everybody heard Bakugo say, quirkless nobody. Now I'm gonna say in this one, Hisashi is not there. He's not there in this one. But he is a scientist. But he works overseas, so yeah, in this one I'm gonna go into all the movies. Well, the ones that they've released in animations. I'm not going into the manga because I still haven't finished reading all of the manga yet. And whenever I do finish, I'll probably do some manga parts. That's up to y'all to decide, because if I do that, I'm going to be spoiling quite a bit. And so, this goes on for a couple weeks of them bullying and hitting on Deku. Now, Bakugo doesn't use his explosions to pick on Deku. He mainly uses brute force, while the other kids use their quirks and stuff like that. Especially that buzz-cut fat one. The one that had the demon wings or something like that. And this goes on for 2 years. 2 years of constant bullying. And Deku is not like he was in canon. Now, during these 2 years, he'd get a dream like once every 6 months. So he's had this dream twice. And what he sees in this dream, he is spoken to and talked to. And what he sees in said dream is this right here. He sees this figure. And it always terrifies him. He thinks of it as a nightmare. Every time it talks to him, it always questions him. Why does he always take this? Why doesn't he fight back? Why don't he do anything? And Deku always says that he's a quirkless loser and a nobody. Now, if y'all know anything about Venom, y'all would know that on his planet, he was always deemed a not quirkless, but a loser, a nobody. So that's why he chose the Eddie, I'm pretty sure that dude's name was, in the movie. I'm pretty sure that was one of his main reasons why he didn't eat his internal organs and kill him. And so in this one, Deku's always had Venom ever since he was diagnosed quirkless, but he never activates or used Venom till later on, and y'all see whenever I decide to activate him. Now, y'all know that if y'all know, Hisashi's quirk was like a fire breath quirk. I'm pretty sure that's what the rumors are. And so Deku, I'm pretty sure quirkless people still have the gene, just that they don't awaken that gene, and they're not able to use that quirk that the gene uses. So whenever Venom fused or went into Deku, he gained the resistance to the fire. Well, not like a strong resistance, but enough to like Todoroki's flames can't destroy him, but Endeavor's can, because Endeavor has more control over his fire. Now, sound still is one of his weaknesses. So, like, the main person to be able to defeat Deku easily would be Jiro. But over time, I'm going to say about 1 year goes by after Deku gets all these dreams and Bakugo bullying. Now, this is around the time Bakugo starts getting rougher with his bullying. Because Bakugo still thought of Deku as a friend, but as he sees everybody just beating on him, he goes into the, like, crowd pleaser. So he uses his quirk to beat on and bully Deku, like he did in canon. Now, Bakugo and everybody at school doesn't know what's going on at home for Deku. Give me a second. Yeah, so Bakugo and the rest of his class doesn't know what's going on at home with Deku. How he's barely being fed and not given any water. So Deku is rather on the thin side. Now, I'd say this is around the time his mom decides that he's... Give me a second. I'm going to have to read that. Yeah, so this is around the time Inko finally gets tired of Deku's shit. Hold on, one more second. As I said, this is around the time Inko finally gives up on Deku entirely. She's tired of taking care of him. She's tired of wasting money on him. Even though she's only wasting like a couple dollars a week on him. And so she tells Deku to get in her car. And Deku's kind of like emotionally broken. Like, he doesn't affiliate with anybody. He doesn't like to talk to anybody. And Deku just goes ahead and gets in the car. And he already has an idea on what's going to happen. As Inko drives to, like, a nearby forest and tells him to get out. And you all know where I'm going with this. She pretty much kicks Deku down a hill, causing him to fall down and smack his head on a rock and get knocked out, because I'm pretty sure I gave him 3 years went by, so Deku's only 7 when this happened. So, like, he's still small, and, like, the skinny Izuku Midoriya before the start of the anime, or before he met All Might. So in this one, he doesn't meet All Might at all until UA. And now we move on to Deku's dream. Now, in his dream, he sees a almost tall, monstrous creature with sharp teeth looking at him. And this is the first time he's seen the actual creature, but he also sees the eyes and recognizes the face of the thing. And Deku stands up, shaking and trembling, ask if he's the one that has been talking to him in his dreams, or if he's the one that's always appearing in his dreams every 6 months. Now, this is when Venom says, yes. I'm pretty sure Venom got that type of voice, unless that's whenever they go into like their like half morph, when they rip that dude's face off and tell him like he's gonna be a faceless turd. And towards the end of the movie, I'm pretty sure it is, or the almost the end of the movie, around there. I'm not sure if that's how his voice actually goes, but as Deku was knocked out, he kind of split the back of his head open on a rock, which is the rock that knocked him out. And so Venom healed that right away as fast as possible because he could easily have died from that. And so this time, Deku's knocked out for like a day straight. And you may be thinking that's over excessive at night. He'd probably freeze. No, Venom is controlling that. Venom's controlling his homeostasis. So he's keeping Deku cold whenever it's too hot and warm whenever it's too cold. Now, Deku's pretty much got like a permanent thermal blanket on, keeping him from the cold. And because like he turned his body, I'm not sure if that's possible, but it's a what if, deal with it. He makes Deku's body blood type cold-blooded. So animals that hunt with like snakes and stuff like that don't see Deku. And he's masked his scent with that of a lion. So like smaller predators, bears and stuff like that won't come over and mess with him. And so Venom is talking to Deku, and he says, well, kid, it finally happened. Like that, and Deku says, yes, it did. Because Deku and this creature have talked about him probably being abandoned or his abuse and everything like that. Now, Venom has a connection to Deku because he's been with Deku for 3 years. And over these 3 years, he saw how Deku's life kept going downhill, downhill, and downhill until it's finally reached the bottom. Like, there's no more he can go lower because he's finally been abandoned by his parent. He's been bullied his almost majority of his life, literally almost half of his life. And now finally he's been abandoned. And so Venom, in this one, he's not that cocky, snarky bastard. Now at this point he's about, I'd say, the start of whenever he met Eddie, like that young, because they've been together like a couple of weeks when in the movie. I'm pretty sure they were. So Deku has a small connection with him. He thinks of him like almost like a guardian angel. Not guardian angel, but like someone he can always talk to that will never turn his back on him. Like Katsuki Bakugo did. Now, I'm going to do a ship for this one. I already got it planned. And it's kind of one that people always do with abandoned series. Like, what if Deku was abandoned? I mean, like, I'm doing it because I like the character myself. I like her personality. I'm not going to tell you what her personality is, because if I tell you, like, she's basically the only one that acts like this in the anime. So y'all know right away. Unless y'all are, like, clueless idiots. But as we skip over a week, Deku's been inside his head for half of that week. And he's finally woken up. And over this course of a week, he is talking to said creature. And this creature finally introduces himself after like a while of talking as Venom. Now, Deku asks why his name is Venom, and I have no clue why his name is Venom. I'm just going to make a bogus reason that, Venom says, I'm a type of symbiote. Like, bro, you have no idea how hard it is to do that voice, bro. As he said, he is a type of symbiote. If you don't get it, then I don't know what to tell you. And Deku asked, what's a symbiote? Hold on. What's a symbiote? Oh my god, dude. And this is when Venom says, it's a type of parasite. But don't call me a parasite. Like that. As he gets angry because he hates being called a parasite. And so Deku asks, don't parasites kill their host sometimes? And Venom says, yes they do. And this terrifies Deku because he thinks Venom is going to kill him. And then Venom states, but don't worry, I won't kill you, as long as we eat some normal food though. like that, because I'm pretty sure in the movie Venom has a appetite of that of a Saiyan. Like, man, could eat an entire turkey. Now, oh my god, I almost messed that up. While Deku was inside of his head, Venom was on a killing spree, killing lots of animals inside the forest and eating them. Now, there have been some reports of monsters in the forest. Now, they were all planned off as some childish rumor. Now, as this week, Deku finally wakes up, and he sees that he is covered and drenched and around lots of dead animals and bones. Animals have been eaten straight to the bone. And he sees how some animals are still dead, but haven't been eaten yet. And this is when, I'm pretty sure it was that one part where they went across the sea, where Venom came out of his body and just showed him his head and talked to him that way. And as Deku asks, oh my god, what happened? Venom says, I was a bit hungry. And I couldn't eat your internal organs, could I? Like that, Deku kind of gets it, but he's also like terrified at the same time because he killed like tigers, bears, lions, because like the King of Jungle, I'm gonna just say some lions that lived there, and some mythical creatures like a bear with a cork, there's like 5 of them in the forest, and he's killed 2. And he's not trying to wipe them out just so they can repopulate. And the last ones left is a male and 2 females, and that'll come and play later. And so Venom went on a killing spree and like destroyed some of them. Now Deku drops the Izuku Midoriya name. Like as soon as he wakes up, he says he's no longer gonna be called Deku or Izuku Midoriya. I'm gonna call him Deku because like I like to. And it's kind of like anything I can remember. It's very easy to remember, and that's what they mainly call him in series, but that's me. So we're going to cut. So I said he was 7. We're going to cut 7 to 15. 8 years later. Now, over these 8 years, Deku and Venom have grown very close. They're like almost like they're practically brothers. They will risk their lives for one another. Now, over these couple of years, Deku has been training with him. And if you don't know, Venom is really strong. Like, he's able to create them like blades and scythe stuff out of his hands or out of his body and literally destroy things. And so, I'm sorry if y'all hear any background noises. And so, this is whenever... Now, Venom is going to be a lot stronger than he is in the movie. So, like, sound can still bother him, but, like, it has to be very, very high frequencies. Like, Jiro, whenever in the Heroes... I think it's 2 Heroes. Is it 2 Heroes? The one where they had to fight 9. And she did that thing where she stomped on the ground. The vibration from the sound she created actually destroyed the ground, and she made it so strong that you could visibly see the sound. I'm pretty sure they always had her see the sound, but like that's a very strong frequency. It's like a bear roaring, as you can see, like feel shockwaves from it. That'll kind of piss him off, but he uses these bears in the forest to train with the sound. And I'm gonna say, just for plot's sake, there's like tigers in there that breathe fire. Now, these are all mythical creatures that hide from humans because they don't want to be found out. And there's, like, some that have intelligence core, but not that of Mr. Nezu. Now, Deku walks around like a barbarian. Oh, hold on, give me a second. Now, as I said, Deku is a, walk-around barbaric. So, he has animal hide for clothing because he lives in a forest and he doesn't like to leave it all that much. Alright, give me a second. Now, as I said, Deku is walking around very barbaric. He has tiger skin on like his legs, and now Deku is very muscular. He's about as muscular as as Venom. Hold on. He's about as muscular as Venom, but like smaller. So yeah, he's about as muscular as Venom, but like in a smaller form. He's not stubby. He's pretty tall. I'd say he's about 6'7". Almost 7 foot. And so he doesn't just use venom as like a tool. He uses venom as like an extension of himself. Now Deku's body is basically an enhancement corpse on its own. It is that strong. He lifts around 2,000 pounds per arm as like a dumbbell lift. And I'm gonna say he can bench press around 5,000. Not gonna make him like overly strong. Like people make him like, they say he's strong when he can lift like 200 pounds. Bro, it is an anime what if. You can go more than that. That's literally like weak. Like in the thing, they said, like, I don't get it. Deku came in last when he can pick, like he was walking around with All Might on his back. And in the anime series, he said, like, All Might was supposedly in his muscle form like 600 pounds. And you're telling me that you couldn't beat Mineta or the Invisible Girl? And like normal physical attributes? Like push-ups, sit-ups? Like, come on, man. Makes no sense to me. But I'm gonna stop ranting about that. So, during this couple of years, like the last 2 months, Venom has told Deku that they're being watched. And Deku knows this, but he don't really pay much attention to it. So Deku doesn't have, he basically wears like a tank top, but there's nothing covering his stomach where his abs would be. So he pretty much has like shoulder pads on, almost like a football player. But he has like thin skin on his shoulders, and so people would think that he's wearing shoulder pads, but he's not. That's just his shoulder blade, that's just his shoulder. And Deku is not a very flashy person. He doesn't like contact with people. He doesn't like big crowds because basically he's antisocial. He's a loner. His only friend for the past, 8 years was a monstrous creature, but he doesn't think of Venom as a parasite nor a monster. He thinks of Venom as a brother. Like they were born together. They've been together for practically their entire lives. Other than Venom, because Venom lives for a while. I think he does, I'm not sure, because like he needs hosts and parasites don't really die unless they're killed. So now Deku noted this time he notices that there's more than one person watching. And now he's starting to get uncomfortable and he's getting kind of angry, but not that much. And furthermore, a couple days go by, the same amount of people. Now at this time there was like 4 people watching him. No, three, just 3. Now, I'm going to cut over to these 3 unnamed people. Now, they're looking at Deku as they say, oh my god. Well, as one says, oh my god, he's so muscular. Like that. And another chimes in and says, and barbaric. Because they've watched Deku kill animals. And he kills them in somewhat of a sinister way. Like, he doesn't, like, torture them, but he kills them very quickly. So I wouldn't say it's like torture. But some animals, if they piss him off, like in a way, like they killed something he liked, or they killed like a certain animal. And this one, every animal in the forest knows that Deku's a beast. They think of him as like another animal. So they're fine with him walking around. Well, certain animals would dip. Like, they gone. They zoom off real quick. But now, these 3 go and inform people. Like heroes, that there's like a kid in the forest that is really strong, and he has this blackish monstrous form that eats like loads of animals. Now they think this is a quirk of what Deku turned into, but as we all know that he's not a quirk. And in this one, I'm gonna say that Venom can't be detached from Deku like he can be from Eddie, from like loud noises and stuff like that make it spit out. And so in this one, that doesn't happen because Deku and Venom has been together for so long. Venom is practically a part of Deku. He doesn't like get split off. Like if Venom leaves, Deku's like mental status leaves him. And so now Deku and these 3 bears that he left alive, well, 5 bears now, because no, not 5, 7, because one had 3 kids and one had 1 kid. Now, Deku raises these kids as the parents live for, like, a long time, but they don't really stick around their kids for too long. They stick around for, like, the first year. And so Deku takes care of these cubs. So that's, like, 5 children. Is it 5 children? 4 children, my bad. These 4 children were cubs, not children. And as babies, they're as big as a full-grown dog. So they're pretty big baby bears. Now, Deku treats these like pets, like actual pets. He cares for them like actual a pet owner would. Like he almost like Riddick does, like how Riddick doesn't really show it, but he really, really cares. He's kind of like Aizawa in a sense. But we're not going to get into that. And as Deku was feeding the cubs, he notices that there's, I'm going to say, 8 people watching him. So there's 5 more people this time around. And this puts Deku off because he doesn't like people. He was fine with the 3 that were watching. Well, 1 that was watching him, then it became 3. He was fine with that. But now that it's 8, he is completely uncomfortable. And like his guard's always on. So now it's finally during this day as Deku's walking towards his cave. This is when a light blue hair girl comes out and asks him, "Hey, what are you doing in this?" Hold on. Hey, what are you doing in... Oh my god. Hey, what are you... Oh, bro, I'm just gonna stop. Hey, what are you doing in this forest all alone? As this makes Deku stops, as he turns around, he sees this girl right here. He sees this girl. Now, in this one, I'm gonna say she is in her hero costume, which is like that bug-looking one. I don't know what it looks like, honestly. Forgot for a second. As he looks back and he jumps back and puts his guard up. Now Deku has a fighting style, but it's more towards like a fighting like Venom does. How Venom like throws his hands out and uses complete brute strength, and sometimes he'll turn like his hand into blades. Well, Deku uses his hand like blades. They're like almost like if you've seen the anime The Mightiest Disciple Kimichi, something like that, where there's that one girl that can use her hands like actual blades. And like that, so she does stuff. He can do stuff like that, but Deku doesn't want to hurt her because I'm gonna say he still has that like kind personality, but he just doesn't like people. He doesn't like large crowds, and if you like corner him and force him to like be in big places, he will go on the offensive. And so over this time, Deku's only ever spoken to Venom, and now Venom has vast knowledge, because he is from a whole new planet that has lots of science and chemistry and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. But Venom is deemed like a useless loser on his world and this one, so they get along really well. And so Venom is practically Deku's teacher, as Deku knows a lot of words, and he's almost as smart as Nezu. I'd say like he's like a league below Nezu, because Nezu is the smartest thing in the world. And well, in My Hero Academia world, because no one can deny that. And this is when, as soon as he jumped back and put his guard up like that, the 7 other people reacted to this, and they came out of the bushes. And this being All Might, Midnight, Miracle. Should I do that? Yeah, Miracle, Midnight, All Might, Aizawa, Principal Nezu. Hold on, yeah, so Aizawa, Mr. Nezu, Midnight, All Might. Yeah, and like, if I forget someone, my bad. And the Togeda, well, Lemillion, Togeda, forgot that one, Tamaki, and those 7 come out of the bushes with their guards up, as Aizawa immediately activates his quirk, and nothing happens to Deku. And this is when Mirako and her like cocky status, and I'm a dude. That's a guarantee thing. Like, I'm only asking y'all if you want Nejire to be the ship or not. Like, there's probably gonna be, if y'all don't want her to be the ship, then there's still gonna be a ship, but I'm already gonna decide what it is. If y'all choose Nejire to be the ship, there's gonna be 2 girls that he affiliates with. I'm gonna say it like that. So Deku's 15, and I'm pretty sure, like UA, this is around almost the end of the 10 months. So Nejire is still in her 3rd year, so she's about 3 years older than Deku. And so is Togeda something. Mirio Togia. Yeah, Mirio. My bad. Miriko and Mirio. I'm going to get mixed up like that. So as Mirio comes out and she goes straight charging in, and as she goes to throw a kick at Deku, Deku grabs her leg and by the face and pushes her to the ground. But like, he doesn't slam her face into the ground. He more or less puts her hand behind her back and like holds her down. Now he has a firm grip, and when I mean firm, I mean like super glue type grip, like dry super glue. And he has so much power behind him, like he's able to easily hold her down. Like she can't move at all. Now everybody there is shocked. All Might is like amazed, like this kid is really strong physically, because he sees that Aizawa has his quirk activated. Now this is when Principal Nezu says they just want to talk, and such as in this. And Midnight is in the back, and she's like ripping parts of her suit, like small parts of her suit, just in case things get violent or something like that. Now I'm gonna say Venom can't be affected by her gas because he's not a man. He's more or less of a creature. Well, he is a man, somewhat of a man, but he doesn't have like the hormones that humans do, so he won't get like knocked out from that. So as Deku senses these hormones, he doesn't go straight into his form. He backs up. As Principal Nezu tells him that they just want to talk, he finally lets Miriko go, and as soon as he let Miriko go, she, being pissed off that he just easily bodied her like that, she jumps up and kicks Deku. And as soon as her kick collided with Deku, nothing happened. Like, he absorbed all of the impact. There was no wind, there was nothing from the kick because he absorbed it all. And so she's shocked, as well as everyone there. Now, this is when Deku picks his finger up and flicks Miriko, launching Miriko into All Might. And as All Might caught her, now Miriko is 100 degrees pissed. She's madder than a can't say that, trying not to get age restricted. So yeah, he is really mad about this. She is, anyways. Now this is when Principal Nezu orders her to stop. As she stops. Now, this is around the time that All Might is starting to get prepared for a fight, because he sees how strong this kid is, and he thinks that he's probably the only one there that can take this kid. Now, I'm going to make Deku pretty overpowered, but just in case y'all want me to add a villain, if y'all don't, I will have someone already ready to combat him. And, like, it would be a genetically modified certain something. Not a Nomu, but another thing. Let me do that real quick. Now, Deku is seeing All Might get prepared, and now he's pretty nervous because he knows All Might is really strong. And Principal Nezu orders him to stop. As All Might stops, and he looks at and Deku looks at the little mouse. And now this is where Venom inside Deku's head is saying, "Let's eat him." No, "Let's eat him." And Deku outside says, "No, we can't do that." No, hold on. No, we can't do that. Because in this one, I'm going to give Deku like a sort of deep voice, or like a manlier voice. And as they hear this, they already thought Deku was a man, and hearing the voice confirmed it. And as this is when Nezu asks, "Young man, what are you doing out here?" Not like that. Well, "Young man, what are you doing out here?" As Deku says, "Young man? I'm a teenager, bro." "Well, I'm a teenager. Now, what are you guys doing in my forest?" Like that. Now, as soon as Deku said "my forest," everyone is like surprised and laughing a bit. And they say, and Miriko is the one that's laughing. And she says, "You damn idiot, you can't claim an entire forest." Like that. And as Deku says, "I never claimed it." And this shuts her up real quick, and she says, "Then how is it yours?" And this is when Deku replies with, "I beat every animal in the forest, and now they all respect me and think of me as their king." Now, Nejire says, "Ha, she starts bust out laughing and say, "You beat every animal in this forest? There's some mythical animals in here that have only been discovered once or twice." And Deku says, "Yes, I know. Like the big bears, the fire-breathing tigers, as well as the lightning-shooting birds." Now, this shuts them up real quick because they've only heard that there's been mythical animals and that they have some weird abilities. And now, for the first time they've ever heard someone describe the ability or the quirk that they have. And so, this shuts Mirko up real fast. Now, Mirko is kind of intrigued and attracted to Deku because, hey, she's a rabbit. Deku's physically buff. She beat his ass. No, he beat her ass really quick, and he's more like that dominating sense. And in this one, Deku is not that shy person. He's not cocky either. He's more or less he's knowledged. He has knowledge over his own power and his own feats of strength. Now, as Nezu says they want to talk, as Deku breaks a tree down and cuts it with his hand, like bare hands, into it like a table and chair. And now all of them are watching. Oh no, that's bad. That's bad. Here, give me a second. Now, everybody is watching in pure amazement, including All Might, because he didn't know there was somebody out here that can do this. Now, they already have some knowledge on what Deku Quirk is, which is that monstrous figure. Well, they don't know it's his, but they know there's something in this forest like that. So I'm a little bit out of breath. Here, give me a minute. No, so as Deku made the table and chairs, he told them to sit down. Like that with like a stern voice. And so as everyone sit down, and reluctantly, Mirko did too. As Deku began walking off into the forest, as they can hear the squeal of a pig and a thud. As Deku's dragging a pig by the back of its leg with a smashed-in head, and you can see like the brains and parts of the skull from the side of it. This is going to be a gory scene. As Deku brings it over to the table and he slaps it on the table, and he cuts it with his own hand, and he's offering a piece to Nezu. And Nezu, seeing this animal murdered in front of him, he is horrified. And so Deku cuts it open, gutted it, butchered it pretty much in front of all of them, and threw the guts to the side. And as soon as he threw these guts out, this one like a couple of like raccoons, pretty much a lot of the scavenger animals inside of the forest come out and take these guts in front of them. They're like all in amazement to see that these animals are that friendly towards him. As Deku doesn't cook the meat, he just bites into it. Now, him eating this raw meat with like blood coming out of the meat into his mouth, everything like that, they're like almost disgusted by it. Well, Mirko is enticed because she's a rabbit. She has like that beast mentality. She sees how like aggressive and dominating Deku is. She's full blown like almost in heat, but she's controlling herself. And this is when Deku says, "What do you want to talk about?" Like that. Now Nezu stuttering says, we want to talk about why you're in this forest." And Deku says, "I'm in this forest because I was abandoned. Now leave." And then Nezu says, but we're not done talking. And Deku says, "I am," as he's already finished the entire pig in front of them. And as he gets up and walking away, this is whenever Nezu says, "We're going to come back tomorrow and discuss this again." And Deku turns around so fast and moves to the table that there's wind pressure behind him. Like there was no noise, nothing at all. Just wind pressure of him getting in at the table and walking away again. As a second goes by from them seeing Deku do this, as the table and the pig bone is split in two, as well as a piece of Nezu's clothing is completely cut off around his arm, and his arm is perfectly fine. As All Might now charges at Deku, he's not going all out, he's going like 25%. And this one I'm going to say he hasn't been injured by All for One. So he's Prime Might. So he charges at Deku with it, and he punches Deku in the back, sending Deku into a tree. Now, Deku is perfectly fine. If y'all seen Black Clover, he's kind of like Yami whenever Yami gets his ass beat. He's like, got all those bruises and everything like that, but he's like, still that blank face. And I don't get it, though. We're not going to talk about that another time. So, as Deku stands back up, and Deku's kind of pissed at this, because All Might punched him for no fucking reason. Oh my god. For no reason, my bad. And so Deku retaliates with punching All Might without even going near him, like almost like how Jiren did Goku when he hit him with that air pressure, like a controlled air blast. And this knocks the wind out of All Might because it was straight for his solar plex. If you don't know what that is, it's like where you're below your chest, your rib cage, like just in the middle of it, like right there where like there's that massive bone, and just below it you can go straight into your stomach. Like around there is wherever he sent the blast, knocking the wind out of All Might, and they see this and they're shocked. Now this is when Midnight does her like ability thing, pushing the hormones towards Deku. Now this knocks Deku out, but makes him drowsy a bit, and this is when Venom takes over. And as soon as Venom switched out, they see a monster come off of Deku and surround Deku. As now Deku looks like, oh, wrong photo, my bad, give me a second. As Deku looks like this now. Now, I'm going to say in this part, Deku has more control over Venom and what Venom does. So, he tells Venom to not kill them, but immobilize them. Now, this is when... Now, only the girls can fight, so Midnight, Nejire, and Miracle can really join into the fight this time. Because of the hormones that are around him, as this is not affecting Venom at all, because Venom is like a full-blown monster. Now, as Miracle charges in, Venom grabs her by the face and slams her straight into the ground, causing a smallish crater, which is like a foot deep and like 2 feet wide, of her head hitting the ground, and this knocks her clean out. As Deku picks her by the ears and pushes her over to a tree. Now, this is whenever a tiger, well, a mythical tiger walks out, as it's got its fire steaming out of its mouth. Give me a second. So as it got the fire steaming out of its mouth, it points it at Mirko, keeping her like almost as a hostage. But just pretty much immobilized her for the moment because she was knocked out, but she wasn't like knocked out for like days type knocked out, but like a couple minutes. So as Nejire charged him, he knows Nejire is way weaker than Mirko. So he kind of does like a gut punch. But whenever he goes to punch, he switches his arm out with Venom because he has control, almost complete mastered control over Venom. Like whether or not he wants to like full-blown Venom, like he can do half his body as Venom. Now as he completely knocks Nejire out, he goes for Midnight. Now Midnight has some type of combat training, but she usually only like, well, she has lots of it because there's not always going to be a male villain. So Midnight gets bodied. I'm going to just say it straight. She gets bodied by Deku. Now, as soon as this happened, the hormones clear because they got stopped being produced by Midnight. And let me go over to this one right here. I'm going to stay on this one. As Deku, in this one, Venom is not like the blackish. He has like bluish lightning. Well, not bluish lightning, but like something like this. As Deku bodies them, as now it's Tamaki, Mirio, All Might, and Principal Nezu left. If I'm forgetting one, I'm sorry. And so, as he bodies Mirio, well, Mirio is like the second from last, completely, utterly destroys, no, not Nezu, but he leaves Nezu alone because he knows Nezu doesn't fight. He's more like the strategist. And he beats Tamaki, beats Mirio, and now this is the All Might fight. Now All Might seeing how he easily destroyed them, and he knows that he is holding back. Now this is where All Might powers up to 100% Prime All Might. Now, All Might throws a punch that collides with Deku, sending Deku through like a football field of trees. Now, this angers Deku because he destroyed like parts of his forest, and Deku cares about his forest quite a bit. So Deku disappears instantly and appears in front of All Might, punching him down towards the ground with like full force because Venom feels Deku's rage at this. Now, Deku's not in control. Well, he is in control, but he's like, Venom's powered by his emotions, almost like One For All is. And so he punches All Might straight down to the ground, and like this damages All Might, but not that much. And a brawl ensues, and this goes on for like 15 minutes of All Might getting beat down by Deku, because I said Deku is going to be strong in this one. Now, he's not like beating him down to the point like one punch easily, but he's giving All Might a run for his money. So Deku finally beats All Might, and this is when Nezu looks at him and asks him what is he, and this is whenever he goes like this, and he looks at him with a straight face and says, "We are Venom." And this is when he just taps Nezu on the top of the head with enough force to knock him out. Now, they're all tied up with like some jungle rope. If you don't know what jungle rope is, that's just like a vine twisted together into a rope. And they wake up inside a cave with torches lit, and Deku just sitting there hitting a rock, or practically training with a rock. What he's doing is he's punching a type of mineral that doesn't break. Like, no matter what, it cannot break. The only thing you can break around it is the stone. Now, Deku punching this, they don't know that it can be broken. As Deku's been punching this, with every punch he puts cracks into it. And this is when they all wake up and they see Deku putting cracks into it. Now, Deku's not holding back at all. He's putting like full-blown punches into this. He was holding back about 25% on All Might, just so he didn't kill him. And so Deku is punching this as they finally all wake up. And Deku was intrigued by Miriko, because he sees that how muscular her body is and how like strong she really is and truly is. She's like an underrated character. Now, Deku kind of has like that mob mentality, like he doesn't like to show emotions, but he will. So Deku walks up to Miriko. He looks her dead in the eye as she woken up, and she's like blushing a bit because she does that. She's like almost going in heat because of Deku. Now, all the other pro heroes wake up as well as the big three, as Deku kisses her on the cheek and walks away and punches the mineral as hard as he can. Now, this does result in him, you can say hiccups. This does result in him breaking his knuckles, but he punched straight through the rock. Now, Nezu, All Might, Midnight, Miriko and Mirio, as well as Tamaki and Nejire, stunned, because they all know what that mineral is. I'm going to say this mineral is like, what? Iranium? Instead of uranium, iranium. So it's like, can't be broken. And Deku just punched through it when it broke his knuckles. And they see as his knuckles begin to repair. Now, this is when one of them musters up the courage to ask, where are they and what Deku's quirk is. And as Deku looks at them and says, you're in a cave in the you're in a cave in the forest. And your answer to the question what my quirk is, I'm quirkless. So get over it. Oh yeah, because Aizawa was there. Yeah. As Aizawa asked that question, he says that he's quirkless. And now everybody there is stunned and shocked, and they also think he's lying. As he says, you there, as he points to Aizawa and says, you can erase quirks, right? Your hero name's Eraserhead, isn't it? And Aizawa's shocked, because not many people know him because he's a nighttime hero. As Deku still took notes on heroes, but he just did it a different way. He wasn't obsessed with it, he just did it in his free time. And so, All Might, well, not All Might, but Aizawa says, yeah, that's me. Well, yeah, that's me. Why do you ask? And he asked Aizawa to use his quirk on him. As Aizawa does so, and Deku goes into the venom form. This one right here. As now they completely believe him because it's not a mutation quirk. It's almost like Tokiyami's Dark Shadow. Now Deku wears this as his hero suit, but we're going to get into that later, probably in the next part. This part's mainly focusing on him starting. So, Deku goes into this as Mirko is like, after getting kissed on the cheek, she's mad in love with him, like almost like how Toga was. Like she wants to be with him nonstop. As Deku tells them to, Deku says he'll release them as long as they leave his forest alone. Now they say they can't do that, and Deku asks why. Deku asks, why can't you leave my forest alone, huh? As Nezu said, well, we don't really want to mess with this forest at all. We kind of just want you to come back to society, because we noticed that you've been in here quite a while, and if it doesn't bother you, may I ask how long you've been here? As Deku says, 8 years. Now, Nezu guessing that Deku is 15 because he said he's a teenager, says, wait, you've been in this forest since you were 7? And you're quirkless? As he says, yes, why? Is that not a surprise? Guaranteed majority of all quirkless kids are abandoned. As Deku already dropped out of the venom form, and Nezu shuts up because Deku has a point. Now this is when Mirko chimes up and says, no, we won't leave this forest at all. In fact, I'm not leaving this forest until you leave it. Now, everyone looks over at Mirko, who's like blushing with her ears down. Now, they know like Mirko is an animal, so they're like expecting something like this, but like not to him. I'm surprised that she did this to him because of his brutality, so they kind of piece together, oh, animal instincts kicking. As Midnight looks over at Mirko and says, oh, is somebody's fur roughed up? As Mirko looks over here at a glance of like daggers. He's like staring daggers into her soul. And Deku says he won't leave. And if so, and if they keep coming back, he will beat them senseless. And if y'all don't stop then, he will kill them. And this is when Mirko finally breaks free as she jumps Deku. Instead of kicking and punching him, she jumps Deku by like hugging him from the back because Deku didn't know she got out. And so Deku is stunned because he forgot what it felt like to be hugged and what it felt like to be loved. He forgot what love was like. Yes, this is going to be a Mirko Deku ship no matter what. And so she whispers to Deku like, hey, are you really just going to stay in this run-of-the-mill forest? Or are you going to finally come back to society? Now, I'm going to say, I'm going to say it's legal for plot's sake, okay? Don't come at me because, like, oh, FBI, open up. Boom. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that, okay? I'm going to say it's legal for plot's sake. Because Deku's 15, and I don't know how old Mirko is. I'm pretty sure she's in her early 20s. Or something like that. Or, like, mid-20s. She's around that age, I'm guessing. But it's fully legal, okay? It's a legal beagle. Now, Deku whispers he'll leave as long as this forest is protected by the heroes. Now, Mirko agrees as she helps untie them. But he says he wants to stay for a little bit longer. And as Mirko unties Nezu, All Might, Aizawa, Midnight, Nejire, Mirio, Tamagi, as she tells them that they're leaving, but Miracle's gonna stay, as they all know why, because they saw Deku kiss her on the cheek. He knows how to give love, but he doesn't know how to accept love. He's not like a romantic. He's more like assertive with his feelings. He's not hiding them. So Deku tells her to leave as well, and she says no, that she wants to stay here. And I'm gonna leave it off there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and had a very wonderful Christmas.